Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Matchmaking with Macmillan Library. I'm Susan Maguire, Senior Editor, Collection Management and Library Outreach at Booklist. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. Links to today's slide presentation and title list were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by copying the URLs on this screen into your web browser. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a section for Q&A. If you have a question or need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that appears. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we'll pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the webinar. Last but not least, Booklist offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, please look for and click the live transcript icon on the toolbar mentioned above. From there, you can select show or hide subtitles from the menu that appears. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting subtitle settings. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from the Macmillan Library marketing team, so let's meet these wonderful people. Amanda Cromarco is Library Marketing Manager. After saying farewell to her home state of Georgia and attending NYU's Summer Publishing Institute, Amanda spent 4 years under the tutelage of the amazing Virginia Stanley at HarperCollins before joining Macmillan and eventually making her way back to her forever home in library marketing. A longtime lover of libraries, Amanda is excited to share her passion for all things fantasy, sci-fi, romance, and horror, but she'll read anything that comes with a good recommendation. Emily Day is the Associate Manager, Library Marketing. After receiving her Master's of Arts degrees in Children's Literature from Simmons University in Boston, she moved to New York City and now calls Brooklyn home. She reads mostly YA and loves contemporary fiction and fairy tale retellings, but will occasionally spice things up with an adult psychological thriller. Emily was proud to be named a Publishers Weekly Star Watch honoree in 2019. And Samantha Slavin is the Library Marketing Coordinator for Macmillan Library Marketing. Samantha owes her love of books to years of library visits and can always be found with a book, whether it's a memoir, historical fiction, fantasy, or contemporary fiction. Thanks for being here, Amanda, Emily, and Samantha. Take it away.
Yay, thank you so much. We are so excited to be here too. Good afternoon, friends. Like Susan said, we are Macmillan's Library Marketing Department. I'm Amanda Cromarco and joined today by my brilliant book talking teammates, Emily Day and Samantha Slavin. Here are all the ways that you can get in touch with us. We love hearing from you, so please reach out with any questions or concerns or virtual hugs or puppy pictures. You get the idea. Next slide is how to get our e-galleys on Edelweiss. The instructions can also be found on our website. And on the next slide, Days YA. Please be sure to check out our candid reviews of our YA titles at Days YA on the website. And Genre for All spotlights all of my favorite things, sci-fi, romance, horror, all of those goodies. So definitely make sure and check that out as well. The next slide, Happy Half Hour is a weekly book talking series that we do every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, where we highlight upcoming adult and YA titles. And once a month, we like to invite special guest authors. So I hope you'll join us on February 28th as we get to chat with Therese Ann Fowler. Very excited about that. And next slide. So today's book buzz is matchmaking themed, where we will match you and each other with the perfect reads based on genre. So let's get started and get ready to swoon.
Okay, first start for me, and I'm really excited. I kind of read a little bit of everything, so fiction is probably my sweet spot. So I am excited to see what everyone is recommending today.
Yay. Okay, so I'll go first. And my recommendation for Samantha and for everybody who likes fiction is Elektra by Jennifer Saint. The author of Ariadne is back with another spellbinding Greek mythology retelling. And I know how much everyone on this team loves a good retelling. This time, she tells the story of three women tangled in an ancient curse: Clytemnestra, Cassandra, and Elektra, who, if you're familiar, is one of Greek mythology's most infamous heroines. This is a serious book club catnip and will appeal to the legions of fans of books like Circe and Song of Achilles.
My pick for Samantha is Acts of Violet by Margarita Montemor. From the best-selling author of Library Reads pick, Una Out of Order, comes the story of a famous magician, Violet Volk, who vanishes mid-act during a show. Playing with unique storytelling such as podcast episodes and diary entries, follow along as Violet's sister and a podcast host work together to investigate her disappearance nearly a decade later. It's the perfect mix of true crime and an exploration of familial relationships. Fans of strong female protagonists will find themselves enthralled with Violet, who made a name for herself in the male-dominated world of magic. This is perfect for fans of speculative fiction like The Midnight Library and In 5 Years, or books told with unique form like Daisy Jones and the Six.
Well, I love both of those authors, so that was perfect. Thank you. And next up, we have Elsewhere. The author of Saint X returns with a rumination on motherhood and all the ways a woman can lose herself to it, with elements of Shirley Jackson's The Lottery and the imaginative depth of Margaret Atwood, with the story of a community in which girls become wives, wives become mothers, and some of them quite simply disappear. Motherhood and its tolls and expectations is such a hot button topic, and this will be great for book clubs. Next, The Latecomer by Jean Corliss, author of The Plot. 25 years ago, a wealthy, newly married couple that can't have kids end up with triplets via IVF. The girls were raised, indulged, and educated, but didn't like each other and cannot wait to go to college. Mom freaks out about being an empty nester and decides to bring the fourth embryo into the world, and Phoebe is born. Phoebe investigates the dynamics of this complicated family and unravels things about them that are gasp-worthy. This new novel from Corliss is in the vein of Meg Wolitzer in that it's more family drama than thriller. Next, My Government Means to Kill Me by debut author Rashid Newson is a fierce and riveting queer coming-of-age story following the personal and political awakening of a young gay Black man in 1980s New York City. It's a rare look at recent queer history and important figures from civil rights leader Bayard Rustin to Larry Kramer and the inception of ACT UP. Rashid is a Black queer writer who spent time in New York City during the 1980s, so the vibe here is incredibly authentic. It's perfect for fans of Luster, A Brief History of Seven Killings, or the TV show Pose. Next, The Bartender's Cure by debut author Wesley Stratton. Not only is this a story of bartending, but it is also an ode to all the neighborhood bars that had to close their doors in the wake of COVID. It's a love letter to bars and the communities they provide, filled with cocktail tips and recipes throughout. This is the story of Sam. After going through a breakup and breakdown in California, she defers law school, moves to New York City, and crashes on her best friend's couch. She gets a job in a beloved neighborhood bar, a job she definitely does not want, one that will certainly be temporary, she tells herself. But then this new community draws her in, and Sam has to decide what she's willing to let go to finally belong. This is for fans of Sweet Bitter because of its character-driven story set in the service industry, and for fans of writers and lovers because it's about a girl finding herself and beautifully dealing with hardship after her life takes a turn. Next, Midnight on the Marn by Sarah Adlaka. This author loves playing with alternate timelines, which you'll recognize if you read her debut, She Wouldn't Change a Thing. This time she takes us to occupied France in World War I, where a soldier at the Second Battle of the Marne prevents his friend from a daring act that might have won the battle at the cost of his own life. Years later, he is set on a course that could change the past and rewrite history. But playing with time is a tricky thing. If he chooses to alter history, he will surely change his own future, and perhaps not for the better. Next. Cult Classic by Sloane Crossley is about a woman out at dinner. She ducks out to buy cigarettes and runs into an ex-boyfriend, and then another and another. Memories of the past swirl and converge in mystical ways, both comic and eerie, as she's forced to decide if she will buy into romance and possibly into a weird startup/cult. Both suspenseful and delightfully funny, this combines the breathtaking twists and turns of a psychological thriller with the will she, won't she of a romantic comedy. Next, Other Names for Love by Taimur Sumro is a brilliant and seductive queer coming-of-age story about desire. Alternating between the voices of a powerful father and his repressed son, it is a hypnotic novel about what men mean to each other and the meaning of masculinity. Set in a rural state in Pakistan, Fahad hopes to spend the summer with his mother in London, but Rafiq has other plans in the hopes to toughen up his sensitive son, enlisting Ali, a local teenage boy. But Rafiq's plans backfire when Fahad and Ali find an attraction blooming. Inspired by the author's own life and written with a sense of intimacy, beauty, and uncommon urgency, Other Names for Love is a deeply original story for fans of Call Me By Your Name, Garth Greenwell, A Burning, and of Woman and Salt. Next. Notes on Your Sudden Disappearance from Alison Espak, author of the New York Times Editor's Choice novel, The Adults, comes a dazzlingly unconventional love story for readers of Ask Again, Yes, and Tell the Wolves I'm Home. Notes on Your Sudden Disappearance is set over the course of 15 years and is a breathtaking love story between two broken people, as well as a coming-of-age story that looks at the way we love people after they're gone. Next. The Last Karankawas by Kimberly Garza is a debut for fans of Yagi Yazzie and Cristina Henriquez. It tells the kaleidoscopic, emotionally charged story of a tight-knit community of Mexican and Filipino families on the Texas coast as Hurricane Ike starts gathering strength offshore. Garza is a native Texan born in Galveston and is half Mexican-American, half Filipino-American herself. This is interweaving English, Tagalog, and Spanish. The Last Karankawas is an innovative storytelling feat that sheds light on characters whose roots span across the world, authentically capturing their experiences in America in a tear-jerking intergenerational story. Next, Learning to Talk, a collection of short stories from the beloved two-time Man Booker Prize winner Hilary Mantel. Hot off the brilliant conclusion to her award-winning Wolf Hall trilogy, this collection of loosely autobiographical stories illuminates the poignant experiences of childhood that leave each of us forever changed. Next, The Homewreckers. Bestselling author Mary Kay Andrews is back with another perfect read to kick off your summer. Hattie Kavanaugh restores homes for a living. After getting married to the boss's son at age 20 and ending up widowed by 25, all she has left is her work. When she falls in love with a house beyond repair, she realizes she needs money to save both the house and the company. When the perfect chance arises to star in a beach house renovating reality show, The Homewreckers, Hattie is cast alongside a male co-star, and she's not expecting that the demolition process might reveal clues to the years-old disappearance of a mother and wife. And who knows, the process might even lead her to love. Next. Bloomsbury Girls, Natalie Jenner, author of the Library Reads Pick and Indie Next Selection, The Jane Austen Society, is back with Bloomsbury Girls. Set in 1950s London about three very different women who work at a rare bookstore trying to find a path for themselves in a world that doesn't give much opportunity or credit to women, and they meet various period-appropriate literary figures along the way. Next. It All Comes Down to This by Teresa Fowler is a warm, keenly perceptive novel of sisterhood, heartbreak, home, and what it takes to remake a life at its halfway point. While Fowler's previous book, A Good Neighborhood, was unabashedly issue-driven and provocative, this new novel focuses entirely on issues of family, forgiveness, and love in its many complex manifestations. This is an ultimately hopeful, feel-good story through and through, and is for fans of Anne Patchett and Emma Straub. Next. The Ruins by Phoebe Nguyen is a suspenseful, feminist, gothic coming-of-age tale with shades of Patricia Highsmith and Atonement, pitched against the sun-soaked backdrop of the French Riviera, about a woman haunted by a fateful summer 2 decades ago, when adults reveled in bad behavior without consequence, and girls were treated as playthings or abandoned to their own devices. But she soon discovers another person who can't escape that summer. Sophisticated and electrifying, with a plot that nods to Agatha Christie and Alfred Hitchcock, this will be great for fans of The Guest List by Lucy Foley, The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce, and The Wife Upstairs. Next, The Bodyguard by Catherine Center, who is just a delight, brings us another romantic, laugh-out-loud, funny, perfect summer read. Hannah looks more like a kindergarten teacher than somebody who could probably kill you with a wine bottle opener. But the truth is, she's an executive protection agent, AKA bodyguard, and she just got hired to protect superstar actor Jack from his middle-aged corgi breeding stalker. And if that's not enough, they're going to have to fake date to keep the stalker threat a secret from his family. And I probably don't have to tell you what happens from there. Next.
Okay, this means it's my turn. I think I've said it like twice already. I really love genre fiction. So tell me what you got going for me.
So my first pick for Amanda is Atlas 6. From the debut author Olivia Blake comes the Atlas 6, the start to a brand new trilogy and the book you've seen all over TikTok. The Alexandrian Society, caretakers of lost knowledge from the greatest civilizations of antiquity, are the foremost secret society of magical academians in the world. When 6 powerful young magicians are chosen to compete for 5 spots within the society, they are told that they will have 1 year to fight for their lives to qualify for initiation. Earn a place in the society, and you can secure a life of wealth, power, and prestige beyond one's wildest dreams. But is it worth the sacrifice? For fans of dark academia and authors like V.E. Schwab and Leigh Bardugo, this book is a perfect mix of the secret history and the Umbrella Academy.
Okay, and my pick for Amanda is Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak, the brains behind Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which I know Amanda loved. This is an inventive horror thriller about a nanny and a little boy whose drawings steadily turn from sweet to sinister and hint towards a dark secret. The author actually commissioned 60 original art pieces that are included throughout the text and really up the creep factor, plus a Netflix film is in the works.
Yay, these sound, well, they are good. I happen to have read both of them, so y'all are really good at your jobs, but I will second all of everything that they said, and they are both so fun in very, very different ways, but still very fun. Okay, so I will continue on with the genre fiction. First up is 40 by Alan Heathcock. In a future America ravaged by natural disaster, pandemic, political unrest, and religious factions, a young soldier on a quest to find her little sister wakes up one day to find wings sprouting from her back. The world sees it as a miracle, but she sees it as leverage to get her sister back. Our heroine is on par with the likes of Katniss Everdeen or the women explorers of Jeff Vandermeer's Southern Reach trilogy in this dark, intellectual dystopian novel for fans of Sarah Flannery Murphy's Girl 1 or Last Ones Left Alive. Next. Just Like Mother by Anne Heltzel is a suspenseful modern Gothic adult debut that is Rosemary's Baby meets The Return. The last time Maeve saw her cousin was the night she escaped the cult they were raised in. When Andrea suddenly reappears, Maeve regains the only true friend she's ever had. The more Maeve immerses herself in Andrea's world, the more disconnected she feels from her old life, and the cousin's increasing attachment triggers memories Maeve has fought hard to bury. But confronting the terrors of her childhood may be the only way for Maeve to transcend the nightmare still to come. This will be great for fans of commercial women's thrillers while still appealing to and fulfilling the needs of hard horror readers, all while examining contemporary feminist issues. Next is Mary by Nat Cassidy. This blends Midsummer with elements of American Psycho and a pinch of I'll Be Gone in the Dark. Mary is a quiet, middle-aged woman doing her best to blend into the background. But lately, things have been changing inside Mary. Along with the hot flashes and body aches, she can't look in a mirror without passing out, and the voices in her head have been urging her to do unspeakable things. Overwhelmed by terrifying visions and thoughts, Mary discovers that these experiences are echoes of an infamous serial killer, and then the killings begin again. Switching gears for our next book, this is The Sizzle Paradox by Lilly Mennon. This is the Kiss Quotient meets Love Potion number 9 and will be perfect for any fans of the best friends to lovers trope. A grad student is writing her doctoral thesis on sexual chemistry, and her best friend offers to tutor her on dating tactics. But once the two progress with their tutoring sessions, they find that the solution to the Sizzle Paradox might actually be having sex with each other, which is a problem because they're best friends and absolutely, irrefutably nothing else, right? Next up is Fake It Till You Bake It by Jamie Wesley. A reality TV star and a cupcake baking football player pretend to be a couple in order to save his bakery in this sweet and sexy romance coming in June. It's the first in a new series that will follow each of the football players / bakery owners as they meet their match. And I would definitely recommend handing this one to fans of Talia Hibbert. Next is Booked on a Feeling by J.C. Lee. An overachieving lawyer and her childhood friend must choose between past dreams or their forever together while resuscitating a failing bookstore in their hometown. Anyone who read A Sweet Mess or The Dating Dare won't want to miss this, and it'll also be great for fans of Float Plan and 10 Rules for Baking It. Next up is Book of Night by Holly Black. The mega popular YA author is making her adult debut. This will be exciting for her legions of fans who have grown up reading her book. That's me. Plus anyone who enjoyed Leigh Bardugo's Ninth House or Stephen King's The Outsiders. Here she introduces a world of shadow magic where shadows can be altered for entertainment and cosmetic preferences, but also to increase power and influence. A former shadow con artist is thrown into chaos when a figure from her past returns, thrusting her into a maelstrom of secrets, murder, doppelgangers, mercurial billionaires, and shadow thieves. Next, Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey, who can do no wrong. Sarah Gailey is, I think, a departmental favorite of ours, and we had the honor of chatting with them a few months ago, and it's one of my favorite conversations that we've had. But anyway, so you can tell I'm very excited about this book. This time they combine horror and fantasy with a true crime twist that is My Sister the Serial Killer meets The Haunting of Hill House, about a woman who is called home to the house her father built, her father the serial killer. With a parasitic artist staying in the guest house and stripping her childhood for parts and mysterious notes in her father's handwriting appearing around the house, she'll have to uncover secrets in the foundation of the notorious house and find out for herself just how deep the rot goes. Next up is Seasonal Fears by the beloved Shawnee Maguire. This is a standalone book, but set in the same world as the Locus and Alex award-winning Middle Game. Two people attempt to change their destiny and vie for the crowns of winter and summer king and queen. But there are others waiting with violence in their hearts, and destiny may have a plan for them after all. Next up, Siren Queen by Nevo. Her previous book, the Chosen and the Beautiful, got so much love, and here she's following that up with a fully original queer coming-of-age fantasy inspired by the real-life career of Anna May Wong and the history of classic Hollywood. Part Taylor Jenkins Reid, part Night Circus, all magic. Nevo weaves lush historical fiction with magic and revolution in this enthralling story of an outsider achieving stardom on her own terms, in a fantastical Hollywood where the monsters are real and the magic of the silver screen illuminates every page. Next, The Book Eaters by Suny Dean is a dark and fantastical debut about a family who literally consume books for sustenance and the lengths one woman will go in order to protect her son. It's perfect for fans of Library at Mount Char for its messed up family dynamics and creepy library. B.E. Schwab's Vicious for its snappy and dark look at the cost of being extraordinary. And The 10,000 Doors of January for its story about stories and the power they hold. Next up is The First Finding by R.R. Virdi. This is the first in a new epic fantasy series that combines the pacing of Rothfuss with the world building of Sanderson, but inspired by the many culturally divergent stops along the Silk Road. The man is a legend, an immortal. He started wars and he ended them, and now all he wants to do is hide away as a storyteller. And this is the story of how he let loose the first evil. Readers of City of Brass, The Poppy War, and She Who Became the Sun should put this next on their list. Next, A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadows is a sultry political and romantic fantasy that follows two men in an arranged political marriage who will learn the difference between survival and love. Readers who loved Winter's Orbit or The Unspoken Name will find much to enjoy here. Next, The Spare Man by Hugo, Locus, and Nebula award-winning author Mary Robinette-Kowal lends her no-nonsense, hard sci-fi approach to life in space with her talent for creating glittering high society in this ultimate locked room mystery. One of the richest women in the world is on her honeymoon on an interplanetary space liner when someone is murdered and her husband is named as the prime suspect. To save him from the frame-up, she will risk exposure and face demons from her past. And next. So I've made no secret of my preference for genre fiction, but I love a good mystery or thriller as well. So let's keep this party going. What do you got for me?
So my first recommendation for Amanda is The Favor by Nora Murphy. This gripping novel of domestic suspense is right up Amanda's alley. This is the story of Leah and McKenna. Their marriages are perfect on the outside, but their beautiful homes and cars are just a picture perfectly painted by their husbands. Though Leah and McKenna have never met, they are living parallel lives. This is great for fans of The Girl on the Train, Behind Closed Doors, and Big Little Lies. Author Nora Murphy is a family attorney specializing in domestic abuse and control, so she is intimately familiar with this world. B.A. Paris calls it taut, compelling, and deliciously dark.
And for my pick for Amanda, I'm recommending a queer and Australian twist on the classic detective story with a debut, Dirt Creek. In a small country town in Australia, 12-year-old Esther disappears while heading home from school. With a new detective in town to solve the case, Esther's best friend Ronnie is determined to bring her home. But when a boy from school tells Ronnie that he saw Esther with a strange man at the creek the day she went missing, she begins to wonder if others are lying about what they know. As a Greek chorus gives a voice to the children left in the town, Dirt Creek explores loss in a small town and the ties that bind us to the places we never truly leave. This is great for fans of We Begin at the End, The Good Sister, and Blacktop Wasteland, which I know Amanda liked all of them.
Yes. And I love debuts too, so I'm excited you guys picked out 2 debuts for us. Excellent. Okay, next with our mystery thrillers. The first is The Gatekeeper by James Byrne. This is the start of a fresh, original thriller series about a retired mercenary who happens to be the right guy at the right time to foil a kidnapping attempt and is drawn into a dangerous conspiracy. The in-house excitement for this series and its wickedly clever hero is unlike anything we've experienced since the launch of Greg Hurwitz's Orphan X series. Next, Project Namahana, another debut from John Teschner. This is in the vein of Harlan Coben, Dennis Lehane, and Tana French. Project Namahana takes you from Midwestern glass-walled corporate offices over the Pacific and across the island of Kauai, from seemingly idyllic beaches and mountainous inland jungles to the face of Mount Namahana, with the story of 2 men unified by a string of disappearances and deaths as they search for answers and salvation in the jungles of Kauai. Together, they must navigate the overlapping and complicated lines between a close-knit community and the hated but economically necessary corporate farms and the decades-old secrets that bind them. Here we finally get a look at the complex lives of the people who live in Kauai, Hawaiian life that is worlds away from the all-inclusive resorts or lay ceremonies that tourists usually see. Next. Now I know this guy is a librarian favorite, Carolina Moonset by Matt Goldman. This is a standalone suspense novel from the beloved author of the Nils Shapiro series. This time we're in South Carolina, where a man returns home to take care of his ailing father, who is coming to dementia. But as his mind slips back in time, he hints at deadly secrets. But then a new murder happens. Next up is Two Nights in Lisbon by Chris Pavone. And this is an author we are so thrilled to have join Macmillan for this book. The author of The Paris Diversion, The Travelers, The Accident, and The Expats returns with another stunning and sophisticated international thriller about a woman whose husband disappears during a business trip in Lisbon, and the ensuing search will reveal how little she really knows about her husband. A killer hook, a gorgeous setting, intriguing characters, and a gasp-inducing ending, combined with thought-provoking questions about truth and credibility, power and justice, make this another sure winner. Next up is A Rip Through Time by Kelly Armstrong. This is the start of a brand new series with a slightly supernatural twist. Think Outlander meets The Alienist. A modern-day homicide detective is assaulted and wakes up in 1869 in the body of a lady's maid at the house of an undertaker, and she'll have to solve a centuries-old crime in hopes of getting back to her old life. Next up is Can't Look Away by Carol Lovering. Author of Tell Me Lies and Too Good to Be True returns with a sexy new suspense about the kind of addictive, obsessive love that keeps you coming back, no matter how hard you try to look away. Strangers Molly and Jake lock eyes at a concert and fall quickly and deeply in love. Now, nearly a decade later, Molly is married to someone decidedly not Jake and is starting to feel out of place in her life. When Molly meets a newcomer in town, her secrets are slowly unspooled. Her connection to Molly becomes clear, as do secrets of Molly's own, which she's worked hard to keep buried. Can't Look Away has all the hallmarks of suspense that fans of the genre look for, including unreliable kaleidoscopic narration and lots of twists and turns, but paired with a voice-driven, sexy love story that engages readers on a deeper, more emotional level. Hand this to fans of Lisa Jewell, Sally Hepworth, and the TV show You. Next up is Stay Awake by Megan Golden. Author of The Escape Room and The Night Swim returns with a novel of memory and murder in the vein of S.J. Watson's Before I Go to Sleep and Christopher Nolan's cult classic Memento. This is about a woman who wakes up in the back of a taxi with no memory of the last 2 years and only the words "Stay awake" written on her hands. When she sees a news report of a crime scene where the victim's blood was used to write the same message, she finds herself on the run from someone who knows exactly what she did and who will do anything to make her forget permanently. And last in the mysteries is Kingdoms of Savannah by George Dawes Green. This is an edgy, fast-paced literary thriller about a dysfunctional Savannah family and the secrets that emerge as they investigate a murder and a disappearance, and whispers of the mysterious Lost Kingdom, a community of descendants of the African-American soldiers who fought for King George in the Revolutionary War, and afterwards formed a secret community, refusing to return to slavery. These all float in the sultry Savannah night. The family of investigators creeps closer and closer to exposing the city's seedy underbelly and a depraved history that a powerful few are determined to keep hidden no matter the cost. Green is the founder of literary community The Moth and author of the best-selling and award-winning books The Caveman's Valentine and The Juror. This will be great for fans of S.A. Cosby, Tom Franklin, or The Vanishing Half. Next, moving on to nonfiction.
My turn one last time. I did say I read a little of everything, so we're going complete opposite of fiction here. I love a good nonfiction.
Okay, I'm going to start off with a really fun nonfiction. This is All the Living and the Dead by Haley Campbell. This one is for all you morbid fans out there who enjoyed Caitlin Doty's Smoke Gets in Your Eyes or Mary Roach's Stiff. This book weaves together reportage with memoir, history, and philosophy to offer readers a fascinating look into the psychology of the death industry and the people, from the morticians, the detectives, the crime scene cleaners, embalmers, and executioners, all of who work in it and what led them there. The author tackles what might be a gruesome topic with warmth, reverence, and empathy. Her personal connection and fascination with death. Her father was a Jack the Ripper cartoonist. This is all woven throughout the narrative, making this book a unique addition to the category.
And my recommendation for Samantha is Secret History, The Hidden History of Gay Washington by James Kirchick. Washington, D.C. has always been a city of secrets. In this book, James Kirchick exposes the long history of silencing LGBTQ people in politics, beginning with the tragic story of Sumner Welles, FDR's brilliant diplomatic advisor and the man at the center of, quote, the greatest national scandal since the existence of the United States. This book ultimately celebrates and brings to light generations of people lost to history due to the silencing of who they were. Filled with secret plots, spies, and conspiracies, The Secret City reads like a top-notch nonfiction thriller while being a monumental work of LGBTQ+ nonfiction.
Those are both very different and sound very good. I'm excited. Thank you. And next in nonfiction is Chosen by Stephen Mills. This is an unflinching memoir of Stephen Mills' repeated childhood sexual abuse at a Jewish summer camp, its traumatic reverberations across his life, and his quest to bring his abuser to justice. It's for readers of Augustine Burroughs' Running with Scissors and Edward St. Aubyn's Patrick Melrose trilogy. Next is Mommy This is a memoir of a Cambodian woman caught between her identity as a gay woman and the love and life debt she owes her mother. This will be great for readers of queer coming-of-age stories like How We Fight for Our Lives and On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, for readers of immigration stories like The Killing Fields and Minari, and for readers of complex mother-daughter stories like Memorial Drive and Somebody's Daughter. Next, The Sewing Girl's Tale by John Wood Sweet is a riveting historical drama that tells the story of the first rape trial on record in American history and the fault lines of class privilege and gender bias that it exposed, showing how much has changed over 2 centuries and how much has not. In September 1793, a mere sewing girl refused to stay silent about what happened to her, and through the ensuing sensational courtroom drama and relentless struggle for vindication, did succeed in holding her assailant accountable, but at a terrible cost to herself. Her tale reminds us that if our law and our culture were changed by a persistent young woman and the power of words 200 years ago, they can be changed again. This is for readers of Jill Lepore, Eric Larson, and Stacy Schiff, and those who love a well-told historical narrative that resonates with today's issues. Next.
YA means that it is my turn. It is no secret that I'm a big fan of YA, so let me have your recommendations.
Okay, I am very excited about this one. My recommendation for Emily is Accomplished, a Georgie Darcy novel by Amanda Crane. If you've attended any of our other events, you know I make no secret of my love for all things Jane Austen. So I am particularly excited to recommend this one to you today. Georgiana Darcy gets the spotlight she deserves in this sparkling Pride and Prejudice retelling, featuring a healthy dose of marching band romance, banter, and Charles Bigley as a ripped frat boy. From Evie Savoy's Pride to Tears of Price's Pride and Premeditation, there is an insatiable hunger for smart Austen retellings in YA, and Accomplished is no exception. This high-concept retelling will appeal to existing fans, of Pride and Prejudice, while also grabbing the attention of fans of Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzalez, Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins, and Netflix's Never Have I Ever.
Okay, this one is a recommendation for everyone everywhere, but also for Emily, because I think she was the first person to tell me to read Red, White, and Royal Blue when I first started in my job. But from New York Times bestselling author of One Last Stop and Red, White, and Royal Blue comes a fierce, funny, and frank YA novel about chasing down what you want, breaking the rules, getting messy, and finding love in unexpected places. Casey McQuiston is truly an expert at crafting thrilling stories full of complicated characters that will make you laugh, cry, and feel seen, no matter who you are or what your own story is. And Ike Shara Wheeler is no exception.
These are both amazing recommendations. I'm so excited. And I have so many more amazing YA books to tell you about, so let's get into it. First up is Primal Animals by Julia Lynn Rubin. Wilder Girls meets the female of the species in this YA horror story about a girl who gets sucked into a secret society at an elite summer program with deadly consequences. Arlie Gold is spending the summer at the college prep Camp Rockaway. Even though the girls in her cabin are awesome and she's developing a major crush on the girl who sleeps in the bunk above her, the other campers don't seem very interested in becoming her friend. When she's tapped to join a strange secret society, Arlie thinks this will finally be her shot at fitting in, until her new sisters ask her to do the unthinkable, putting her life and the life of her new crush in perilous danger. Next up is Together We Burn by Isabel Ibanez. In an ancient city plagued by dragons, a flamenco dancer is determined to save her ancestral home, but the dragon hunter refuses to teach her his ways. They don't want each other, but they need each other, and without him, her world will burn. This is a lush, enchanting standalone fantasy inspired by medieval Spain, filled with romance, adventure, and just the right amount of danger. This is for fans of Sarah J. Maas and Shelby Mahurin, and this is a deeply romantic story set in a vivid world that readers will want to get lost in. Next. Tokyo Dreaming by Amiko Jean returned to Tokyo for a royal wedding in the sequel to the New York Times bestseller and School Library Journal Best Book of 2021, Tokyo Ever After. Izumi will do anything to help her parents get their happily ever after, but what if playing the perfect princess means giving up her own? Can she find a way to forge her own path and follow her heart? This irresistible rom-com perfectly encapsulates the witty, feel-good love story readers are looking for right now. Next, Home Field Advantage by Dahlia Adler. In this sweet and funny sapphic romance from the author of Cool for the Summer, a cheerleader and the school's newest quarterback are playing to win, but might lose their hearts in the process. When it turns out that the new quarterback, Jack, is actually short for Jacqueline, all hell breaks loose. No one is happy about a girl leading the team. But head cheerleader Amber is falling for Jack, and if Amber can't stand up for Jack and get everyone else to fall in line, her dream of becoming cheer captain may come at the cost of her heart. Dahlia Adler's latest is a sparkling romance about fighting for what or who you truly want. Next. This Vicious Grace by Emily Theed. Serpent and Dove meets the bodyguard in this romantic, thrilling debut fantasy where one girl's magic can save or it can kill. 3 weddings, 3 funerals. Alessa's gift from the gods is supposed to magnify a partner's magic, not kill every suitor she touches. Now the people on her island are convinced that the only way forward is to assassinate Alessa, so she hires Dante, a cynical outcast marked as a killer, to become her bodyguard. This Vicious Grace has all the trappings of a dark fantasy that readers find so compelling, including a heroine destined to save her people, but also destined to kill, a handsome, brooding love interest with deadly secrets, and a devastating conclusion that will leave readers yearning for the second book. Next. Very, very excited about Our Crooked Heart by Melissa Albert. Melissa Albert, author of the best-selling Hazelwood duology, is back with a new contemporary fantasy full of secrets, lies, super bad choices, and witchcraft. 17-year-old Ivy's summer begins with an accident that reveals a secret she's always known, that there's more to her mother than meets the eye. Back then, the summer Dana turned 16, she began a fling with the supernatural. Years after it began, Ivy and Dana's shared story will come down to a reckoning among a daughter, a mother, and the dark forces they never should have messed with. This darkly brilliant book full of chilling magic brings to witches what the Hazelwood brought to fairy tales, and will be a hit with anyone who loves The Craft, Coraline, or The Witch Haven by Sasha Payton Smith. Next up is The Charmed List by Julie Abe. Sabrina the Teenage Witch meets To All the Boys I've Loved Before in this romantic comedy with a magical twist about 2 former friends turned enemies forced together on a summer road trip to a secret magical convention. The magical elements are small, keeping readers grounded in a contemporary world, but the charms and spells give the story a touch of whimsy. This is perfect for fans of sweet rom-coms like Tweet Cute and Love and Gelato. Next up, going in a very different direction, we have Wake the Bones by Elizabeth Kilcoyne. The sleepy little farm that Laurel Early grew up in has awakened. The woods are shifting, the soil is dead under her hands, and the bone pile just stood up and walked away. After dropping out of college, all Laurel wanted was to resume her small town life and try not to think about the boy she can't help but love. Instead, a devil from her past has returned to court her, just as he did her late mother years earlier. Now, Laurel must unravel her mother's terrifying legacy and tap into her own magic before her future and the fate of everyone she loves is doomed. This is a dark, atmospheric, deliciously creepy Southern Gothic debut about the complicated feelings that arise when the place you call home becomes hostile. Ideal for fans of Melissa Albert, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and Midsummer. Next up is Heatwave by Tj Cloon, the 3rd book in the thrilling and hilarious Extraordinaries trilogy by New York Times bestselling author Tj Cloon, about a queer fanboy with ADHD and the heroes he loves. Nick, Seth, Gibby, and Jazz are back in action, bringing justice, protection, and disaster energy to the people of Nova City. An unexpected hero returns to Nova City and crash lands into Nick's home, upending his life, his family, and his understanding of what it means to be a hero. Next up is Beating Heart Baby by Leo Min, is a tender best friends to enemies to lovers story with AAPI main characters celebrating first love, second chances, indie rock, and transitions of all kinds. Santi has arrived in LA with one goal: mend his broken heart. Thankfully, his new school welcomes him with open arms, with one exception, his prickly marching band section leader, Sua. But as Santi and Sua get to know each other, they each let down their guards and their friendship quickly becomes a mutual crush. When Sua is offered a chance in the spotlight, the pair must finally reckon with their dreams, their pasts, and their futures, together or apart. This is a coming-of-age romance celebrating the uncertainties queer youth encounter amidst the turmoil of first love. This knockout debut truly pulses with life and energy, begging to be read and reread. It's Nick and Norah for a new generation. Next. Long Story Short by Serena Kaler. Beatrice Quinn has spent 16 very serious years studying to get into Oxford. But she can only go if she can prove to her parents that she's able to make friends with people her own age. Their solution? Shakespearean theater camp and a detailed list of teenage milestones to check off. Unfortunately, hearts and hormones don't follow any rules, and Beatrice soon finds out that relationships are trickier than calculus. With flirty, whip-smart banter and sweet, slow-building tension, this is a fun rom-com with a whole lot of heart about friendship, first love, and learning to take a chance on yourself. Next, please. The Stars Between Us by Kristen Terrell is about a girl who discovers that behind the glamour and romance of high society, the world is teeming with conspiracies, secrets, and murder. Set in a glittering Dickensian-inspired world where secrets are currency and love is the most dangerous risk of all, Vika Hale must quickly learn who she can and cannot trust as she attempts to escape her lavish new life unscathed. With a unique blend of exciting sci-fi, swoony slow burn romance, and intriguing mystery, The Stars Between Us will appeal to a wide variety of readers, including fans of Alison Saft, Marie Lu, and Charlie Jane Anders. Next up. The King Will Kill You by Sarah Henning. This is the final entry in the Kingdom of Sands and Sky trilogy. The Princess Bride meets Game of Thrones in this YA trilogy from acclaimed fantasy author Sarah Henning. The epic tale concludes as the newly crowned Queen Aramande and Luca, her one true love, seek peace among the kingdoms of sand and sky. But peace may not come easily as the war-torn kingdoms must confront a power-mad king determined to seize control and kill Aramande and Luca in the process. Fans of Sarah J. Maas, Kristen Kishore, and Adrienne Young will love this kick-ass heroine and fast-paced fantasy adventure. Next. Wildbound by Elaine Audrey Becker, the follow-up to Elaine's YA fantasy debut, Forestborn. Following the assassination of Tellion's king, peace is no longer an option. After failing to procure stardust, Halos is now a healer at the military garrison, Fendalin's Keep, where Tellion's exiled royals and civilians have fled. Across the continent, his sister Rora is attempting to end Arabian's slaughter of magical beings. With magical illness spreading quickly and battle approaching the continent, destruction seems inevitable. Will the continent survive? A story of shapeshifters, forest magic, and the search for identity, this epic fantasy aligns with books like The Hazelwood and Lee Bardugo's early Grisha books. With a classic timeless fantasy feel and a happily ever after, it's a comfort book that readers crave. Next. Wind Daughter by Joanna Ruth Meyer. Joanna Ruth Meyer's East of the Sun, West of the Moon retelling, Echo North, was nominated for YALSA's Best Fiction for Young Adults list and received starred reviews from PW and Kirkus. Now, in Wind Daughter, we return to the same wintry, magical world from Echo North. In the dark, cold reaches of the north lives a storyteller and his daughter Satu. This storyteller was once the formidable North Wind, but he lost his power by trading it away in exchange for mortality. And now the world is unraveling in the wake of this imbalance. To save the North, Satu embarks on a perilous journey to reclaim her father's magic, but she isn't the only one searching for it. In the snow-laden mountains, she finds herself in a deadly race with the Winter Lord, who wants the North Wind's destructive powers for himself. This companion novel to Echo North is a hauntingly beautiful tale about love and loss. Next up, Stealing Infinity by Alison Noel. Dan Brown meets Leigh Bardugo in this clever, fast-paced series from the #1 New York Times bestselling author of the Immortals series. When Natasha Clark is invited to Arcana, a mysterious nightclub, she discovers a tombstone with her name written on it. When she wakes up the next day, her life has completely changed, and she ends up on a remote island at a hidden school where history is changeable and students travel through time. Guided by Braxton, a handsome boy with a guilty conscience, Natasha discovers the wonders of the past, including a connection to Greek mythology that just might lead back to none other than Natasha herself. Next up, Not Good for Maidens by Tori Bovalino. Salem's Lot meets the darkest part of the forest in this horror fantasy retelling of Christina Rossetti's Goblin Market. Lou never believed in superstitions or magic until her teenage aunt Neela is kidnapped to the Goblin Market. Determined to save Neela, Lou learns songs and spells and tricks that will help her navigate this dangerous world and slip past a goblin's defenses. But she only has 3 days to find Neela before the market disappears and her aunt becomes one of them forever. If she isn't careful, the market might just end up claiming her too. Not Good for Maidens features an asexual main character, and this horror retelling will be perfect for fans of Holly Black and Leigh Bardugo. Next up is Relic and Ruin by Wendy McIver. For lovers of Leigh Bardugo's Six of Crows duology and V.E. Schwab's A Darker Shade of Magic comes an epic tale of a world where life and death are never forever, and magic defies the in-between. Erebus and Nyx are the relics, the only two powerful beings in the world capable of taking down the greatest evils known to any kind. Soon, Nyx and Erebus become the hunted and must try and escape the evil plans of the warlord Bellum, who wants the relics for his own purposes. Can Nyx and Erebus master their newfound powers? And even if they do, can they survive? And next up, our last book is The Gravity of Missing Things by Marissa Ergo. Everyone thinks my mom did it on purpose. Officially, her plane is still missing somewhere in the Atlantic. Unofficially, news reporters all over the world say she was a suicidal terrorist and crashed into the sea, killing 155 people. But I know better. My mom could never hurt anyone. Mom didn't crash the plane on purpose. She didn't crash it at all. I think she's still alive, and I will prove it. Fans of the twists and turns of Karen McManus and the emotional coming of age of Kathleen Glasgow will love this thriller set around a mysterious plane crash. All right. Thank you so much for listening. That is it from us. We hope that you will reach out to us if you have any questions, if anything came up, or if you need anything from us, please feel free to reach out. Or if you just want to chat about books, we're here for that as well. Thank you again, and we hope to see you all soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, thanks.
Thank you so much, Amanda, Emily, and Samantha. Those titles were fantastic. My TBR pile has unfortunately exploded.
That's what we're here for.
Okay. On Monday, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's slide presentation, title list, certificate of completion, and video recording. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those you see here. Not yet a subscriber? Pair the print reading experience with the convenience of online access at booklistonline.com and lock in print, online, digital, and archive access by taking advantage of the special webinar offer to get Booklist for only $75. patron-friendly, librarian-approved, and free with a Booklist subscription, Booklist Reader, Booklist's newest digital-only magazine highlighting diverse readers' advisory recommendations for all ages, has arrived. To learn how to share the latest issue, visit booklistonline.com/reader-issues. Thank you all for joining us for today's webinar. One more huge thank you to our panelists, Amanda, Emily, and Samantha, and to our sponsor, Macmillan Library. This concludes today's webinar. See you next time.